in 20 minutes.
Oh.
What's going on?
What's going on, boys? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes,
We
sir.
got you great. Are you at a lodge? Are you?
I'm at a coffee shop in Philadelphia, going to see Dan Skilling's play tonight. So just had to find somewhere that was appropriate to get on the podcast with Chad Brendel. So
Luke outdid you. Luke called us from Mexico and had the beach in the background, the ocean in the background.
Well, I would say that I outdid him because I'm working. He's vacationing.
Boom. Shots fired.
Now he maybe earned it though. He might have earned it. So
he might have.
We won't give him a hard time. He deserves that and a lot more. But I'm actually that's wild. I saw him a week after the season ended, after the football playoff, and I said, "Man, I hope you get some time away. I hope you get a break." And he gave me the look and explained it was going to be a long time. So I'm glad he's finally getting some vacation. Good for him.
He also said that he was cutting vacation short tomorrow to go watch his daughter's volleyball tournament in Kansas City, which just sounds like a terrible idea.
I'd rather look at a beach in Mexico, but that's just me.
Yeah, you and me both. This season has been a lot of fun, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, it's kind of been a roller coaster. Take us through. I know we're not to the finish line yet, but how has season one so far been, adjusting to the American Conference, getting to know the American Conference, and adjusting to your team?
Well, I think number one, we're still in it, so it's hard to do a lot of reflecting right now. The mentality right now is all about preparing for practice tomorrow. And I know this sounds boring to people, but it really is how we're approaching it. It's about preparing for practice tomorrow and then preparing for a really good Temple team on Sunday. We'll kind of do a lot of self-reflecting when it's over. But I think if you ask me to do it for a second, I've loved my experience so far. I love the community. I love Cincinnati. I love UC. So that part has just been really special. Like you believe that's going to be the case when you leave something. I left a great job, somewhere I was happy, could have felt like I could stay forever. But if you're going to make a move, you feel like you're going to do it to come to a place like this. But you don't know till you get here. And every day that I've been in Cincinnati, man, the decision to come here has been reinforced. I just love the people and I love what this community is all about. So that part's been neat. The transition's always hard. Everybody knows that. And you know that when you take a job, trying to get to know new players, new people, new administration, new staff, that certainly had its ups and downs, as you would mention, but nothing negative, just the natural progression of it all. With the team, they've been a joy to coach. The results, you mentioned ups and downs, the results have felt up and down at times. But the attitude to go in the gym and work with the kids on our team, there hasn't been a day I've not enjoyed that. There's been days I've been frustrated or coaching hard, but there hasn't been a day that deep down I wasn't really enjoying working with this group. So that part's been great, Chad. I think the main thing, you just want more consistent results and you want more success. And, I think every coach in the country on February 18th would be saying that. But I am proud of the way this group's been approaching it day in and day out, and I've enjoyed interacting with all of them.
How hard is it not to try to hit the fast forward button, to try to make things happen faster than they're ready to happen? Is it a challenge to remind yourself we're building this thing long term? This is a journey and not just a sprint to the finish.
Well, I think anybody that knows me well or interacts with me every day, I think I live in the fast forward button. It's just how I want it. I want 100% of the time, and I want it right now. And that's the way we're going to approach every single day. And, I've always kind of said you want to have these huge, big dreams and the big picture, but you want to work really small. And I want it right now. And I feel like if you wake up every morning and you approach it that way, and then you go to bed at night and you do it again, I think, the big picture happens over time. I really believe that. So, yeah, the frustrations have been not being at the standard that we think we can be at every day. But it hasn't been for lack of effort or lack of cohesiveness or the things that you really care about with young people. It's just because you want it so bad and they want it so bad. So that part's been good.
Coach, I wrote about the Wichita State preview just the other day, and I called that game a must-win. And I said that I thought it was a must-win for both you and the staff and the team itself, but I think it was also a must-win for the fans. What do you think of that assessment as I made it the other day?
Well, it sounds like you're a journalist and get paid to write things like that to get people all riled up. I don't. They all feel like a must-win to me. Practice tomorrow feels like a must-win, and I mean that. I mean, I'm probably boring to talk to, but we got to have the best practice we've had all year tomorrow, and then Sunday's a month. They all feel like that, and when you approach it that way, you don't win them all. And you know what you do? You wake up the next day and you approach it like that again. So we say this all the time to the kids, and we try to live it as a staff. We try to approach winning and losing the exact same. Work harder, get better. And, you know, you're going to go through some tough stretches, and it's not been a great 2-week stretch. But even if we'd have lost to Wichita, it'd be the same thing. We got to work harder, and we got to get better.
There's one difference. If you would have lost to Wichita, you wouldn't be here right now. Because you told me you were. I didn't say you have
to have the same attitude. And, and I tell the kids that, hey, listen, sometimes when you lose, you're really pissed off. That's okay. Sometimes when you win, you're happy. You're in a good mood. That's okay. But our approach to work and our approach to try to get better should be the same. We might enjoy one a little more than the other. And you're right. I don't think I'd be sitting here doing a podcast. I probably would. But
I wouldn't have asked you because I know how mad you get after losses.
Well, then that would have been nice. But if you'd have asked, I would have done it. I might not have been in as good of a mood as I'm in right now.
Go ahead.
How excited were you that the win against Wichita? We were about halfway through the second half, and neither DDJ or Davenport had really taken off. They were still in single figures, and everybody else really stepped up. So how exciting was that for you that they were making the extra pass? They were just taking care of it, and it wasn't just the regular two guys taking over the game.
DDJ, huh? I haven't heard that. I can do some deductive reasoning here. That's David DeJulius. But that's good. I hadn't heard that one yet. No, I said this last night. I think the ball moving was really at a high level last night. And sometimes people go, "We'll just pass the ball more." Guys, it's not that simple. You know, basketball is about 5 guys being connected together in the flow of a game. And so we're just talking about the offensive end here. For the ball to move, other guys have to be in the right position based on what happens with the defense. So it actually takes doing your job without the ball and then the ball handler being aggressive and being a willing passer to make the right decision. So it's not as simple as just, hey, guys, pass the freaking ball more. And you want guys to stay aggressive. You want guys trying to go make plays and be confident. And then you want the other guys around them, you know, doing their job to get to the right position. So when the defenses collapses, we can make the right play. I thought all those things happened last night, and the result that you saw was great ball movement, a higher quality shot, and a lot more guys getting involved in our offense. And certainly you guys love to see that. I'm sure fans love to see that. We love to see that as a coaching staff too. I give Dave a lot of credit last night because he's getting so much attention, and we didn't change our style of play last night, guys. It was the same thing we've been doing every night. But he's getting so much attention, and he got the ball out of his hands at the right time, and then give guys around him credit for being in the right spots. And then we kind of moved it from there and made some plays. And I also thought our defense early fueled our offense, and we got out running and got some easy shots in transition. You know, you get Mike gets a 3 in transition, Mason gets a 3 in transition. Those types of things help you too. And then you look down at the end of the game and you had 17 assists. So, yeah, I guess to answer your question, yes, it was great to see that. And I think we got to have more well-rounded scoring to continue to grow as an offensive team.
Neil that's not the right one. Neil just wants you to know he also gets mad after losses, Coach.
So, hey, listen, I'm telling you, I love it here. I love it here. You can just being around our fans and people in this community. It's a sports town. People are pissed when you lose. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm pissed. People are happy when you win. It's how it's supposed to be. I'm happy. You just feel if you're I'm a coach, I'm a sports guy. You just feel you're in a place where you can relate to people. And so, thank you, Neil. And hopefully you're not as you're not going to be very pissed the next couple of weeks. Hope we have a lot of success.
You mentioned you're out to see Dan. You haven't talked about the recruits since signing day or right around signing day. They've all played they're playing and competing in their senior seasons now. Daniel was MVP of his league. Josh Reed from Pace Academy in Atlanta, MVP of his league. Sage Tolentino was coming back from a leg injury, and his coach did a really good job, I thought, of easing him back in and not forcing too much on him early. But if you look at his numbers of late, he's starting to look like you would expect somebody with his talent and ability to look. So can you just talk about your three signings and what they have shown you maybe through their senior year and where we're at right now?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Coach Higgins Hamilton, because the way he's approached it with Sage has been really admirable. I mean, he was very conservative about pushing Sage early in the year, and that's going to affect Sage's, production. Yeah. But it was thinking big picture that Sage, Sage has so much basketball ahead of him. We're not going to do everything just to win a game. So I give Coach Higgins a ton of credit for that, and it's nice to now see Sage kind of get in a rhythm. He's the same way we talked about on signing day. I mean, 7'1", great kid, great work ethic, touch, skill, can shoot it, can move, and he's still young, right? So the future is going to be bright for him. Josh Reed and Daniel Skillings are both having incredible senior years. They're both playing for big time high school programs. Pace Academy's been in the Geico Nationals, like the top 8 teams in the country during multiple times, but during Josh's career. I don't think they'll be there this year, but it's a big time high school program, and for Josh to be their best player, leading scorer, he may be their leading rebounder. I haven't checked the statistics. In fact, I think he is in the player of the year in their conference. He'll get a bunch of other recognitions as stuff starts to come out. But the neat thing about Josh is he just plays. Like, you go watch him, and I went to see him right before Christmas, and you go watch him and you sit there, and if you're not statting him, you might go, oh, he's playing pretty well. Maybe he's got 15 and 4 or 5 rebounds, and you look up and he's got 28 and 12 rebounds. He just plays the game. He doesn't do anything flashy, but he's just incredibly productive and incredibly efficient. And his size and length and instincts make him such a versatile player that we're going to be able to use him in a lot of different ways on both ends of the floor. And then, Dan, I think, is really coming to his own. He's had a great year, but he's really played well here in the last 5 or 6 weeks. And, guys, he may end up in the top 30 or top 40 players in the class in every publication. I've seen a couple people have already released him in the top 50, but he may end up – I think that people are starting to realize how special of a player he is, and he's getting a lot more credit nationally. So it'd be nice to celebrate in the first round of their playoffs here tonight in Philadelphia.
How much does the move to the Big 12 change your perspective on the job? We'll get a couple fan questions in here for you.
Well,
it's a lot harder.
Yeah, I just think I think it changed your perspective on recruiting a little bit. I think the thing that's been a little strange, and we're not doing this right now, but as we get into this off season, we'll have to start watching tape of that league and seeing some of the things you have to be prepared for. And every league is unique. And like you said, one of the parts of the transition here, you asked it earlier, is trying to learn the American Conference. And so you start going through this league the first time, and you start learning the league and learning programs. I was in a place for 10 years. I mean, I would always work before every game to prepare. But looking back on it now, I could have done a lot of those scouts in my sleep, because you're playing against the same coaches, the same programs year after year. It's like starting from scratch in this league. So I think now we're going to be in the American again, and then we're kind of going through this whole thing again, 3 years from now. So that'll add. I think we can do some work on the front end this offseason to get some understanding of what's going on in that league. I certainly watch it at night because it's on television a lot. The American's a terrific league, and the Big 12 may be the best league we have in college basketball right now. So, yeah, there's some big picture changes, but in terms of the day-to-day and how we're approaching it, nothing's going to change.
Here's a good one from our guy, Tonk. One of the most pleasant surprises about coaching the Bearcats or Cincinnati in general?
Well, those are two different things. You know, like I could probably have two different answers there. I'll try to answer both. And I'm just going to shoot from the hip. I may have a better answer later, Chad. I'll text you. But pleasant surprises about coaching the Bearcats. There's quite a few, actually. You got anything, Dre? I'm sitting here with my assistant. Well, like what would rank up there?
I would say the fans, number one.
Yeah, that's – yeah. So we actually talked about this on the flight over here. I knew that there was a crazy passionate fan base and there was crazy support. And I also knew this is a place that understood basketball. I've said this a lot. Like in our first home game, we had a couple really good defensive possessions and guys lay out on the floor for balls and the place goes crazy. And it's like, hey, this place gets basketball. Like these people get basketball. Like, you know, everybody cheers for a big three or a dunk. But, like, they get, like, what it takes to really win. And that's because of what's happened here before us, right? Yeah. The way people have played.
They've been conditioned.
That's right. So I knew that. And one of the things I was excited about accepting the job. But sometimes when you have a fan base that gets it that well, when you're not as good as you should be, maybe they don't show up. And, like, we came out last night, and it was a really pleasant surprise. I'm thinking, hey, we'll definitely have support. But after the Memphis game and the Houston game, the last couple home games, we might not have a good turnout tonight the way we've been playing. And it's like over 10,000 people in there. That has been the loyalty and the support, regardless of how we're playing, good or bad. That's been overwhelming. And that's been the coolest part, at least that I can think of right now. I'll probably think of some 10 other things later. Living in Cincinnati, man, there's a lot. I think the food, probably the food.
I told you when you got here, the food's better than people realize.
And I'm a food guy. Like I just love a good meal and a good glass of wine or a beer, and that has been shockingly. Even you told me, okay, everybody says that. It's real. There's some really good places. And not just like the way it tastes, but like just some good environments, some places there's good places to go have a beer and kick back and, you know, just be normal and get a burger and fries. And there's some great fine dining restaurants and everything in between. So that's probably been maybe the biggest pleasant surprise.
I thought you were going to say snow.
That's not a surprise. I was aware of that when I said yes. And it's not pleasant.
No.
But it's during basketball season, so it doesn't really matter.
Corey, will the jacket ever make a full game or even a half?
Doubtful. It's not planned. It's just kind of an instinctual thing. But I feel a lot less restricted with it off. So doubtful.
My guy Dave that works with me that you've met, I think his family goes way back. His aunt used to be the dance team coach, and his uncle or his grandpa was around the football program forever. He wants to know when you guys are going to tee it up for the summer.
Well, does he like to gamble?
I don't know that he could gamble at your level, but he does like to gamble, yeah.
Because if I tee it up, that's legal, by the way. We're allowed to gamble in the golf course.
Friendly wagers, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to get like the NCAA's not calling me tomorrow, but I like something to be on the line when I play golf. It doesn't have to be a significant amount, but it's got to be $1 or $2 because I want to say I took your money and I beat your ass type of thing when we play. So I love to play golf. I played the least amount of golf I've ever played as an adult last off season because we had so much work to do. Felt like 24 hours a day. I believe we're going to have a really busy off season this year as well, but I will find a way to sneak in a couple more rounds of golf, and that's how I get my little competitive fix in the off season. So I'd love to play with anybody that wants to get out there and compete. I'm not the guy you want to play with if you're looking for a good time and shooting the shit. That's not me. I'm the guy that I want to compete on the golf course.
Tell the people the story you told me. You went on a vacation this summer with your former teammates. You had so much to do. The only reason you went was to kick Hansborough's ass in golf, and then you came back.
That's right. True story. And I was only there for less than 24 hours. I flew in just for the golf competition and flew. I let them do all the other stuff, and I did, and just like I normally do, I took some money off of Tyler Hansborough, and I like to let him know about that.
Well done.
And Dave wants to know what's your favorite game on the course, and have you played with Jordan?
My favorite golf game to play? Interestingly enough,
what's your go-to game?
I love to play a Scotch game, and it's actually one of my teammates, my backcourt mate in college, is a guy by the name of Bobby Frazier.
Oh, yeah.
And he's from the south side of Chicago, and got that game playing at Beverly Country Club on the south side of Chicago, which he's taken me to play before. And so a Scotch game I think it's a Chicago type thing, but it's a lot of fun. It's what my buddies and I play when we can play. That's my favorite game. And what was the second question?
Have you played with Jordan?
I've not played golf with Michael Jordan, but that's a bucket list thing. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get down to Grove 23 at some point here this offseason. I'm working on it. Coach Williams is playing down there this week.
There you go.
There you go. And I believe
he'll be
playing with Michael Jordan. At least that's what he told our team when he was talking.
He looked good in red and black. He had
the sea paw, just that.
Yeah, he had the sea paw.
It's the most red I've ever seen on his body, and I really enjoy it.
Best thing the team needs to do well in the conference tournament, and what do you need to improve on for next year? I know you haven't overly thought about next year yet, but you will soon.
Yeah, we got to get back to defending. You know, I know you guys saw we scored 80-something last night. And that's great.
Still gave up 75, which pisses you off.
Yes, it does. And we are capable of having some offensive outbursts, and we're capable of continuing to improve as an offensive team. I've said that from day one. Like, we're going to get better offensively as the year goes on. We you know, 14 days ago, we're 25th in the nation in defensive efficiency, which is how I gauge the best defenses in college basketball. And we're a top 25 defense in college basketball. Now we're not even in the top 50 after the last 4 games. And so we have to get back to being able to rely on that every single possession. And there were some moments last night where we kind of looked like ourselves defensively. It was not consistent enough. And we got to get that mentality back. And I think if we do that, we can have some success, not just in the conference tournament, but just down the stretch here.
Kashmir Wright was on with us earlier tonight, or today, I guess. It's not tonight. But he was on with us earlier. He said he wants to be a sponge this offseason with you, to where you're sick of him and swatting him away like a gnat. But that all said, it just kind of goes to show the relationship that you're starting to build with this alumni class and how appreciative they've been. When you see Corey Blunt tweeting out about his receiving the little gift of merch that you sent out and all of that. So what's it been like growing that relationship with the alumni to where you've been seeing them around? They're at games and all of that, kind of like the Tar Heel family does.
It's been fun. It's been a rewarding part of the job. I mean, you know, people might get tired of me saying it. I'll keep saying it. One of the most exciting things for me was, you know, saying I'm the head coach of, you know, the University of Cincinnati. I get goosebumps, like thinking that. And the reason is because I grew up watching it. I mean, I wasn't from here. I wasn't like a huge fan, but I knew what that meant something, right? Like, I grew up watching the Bearcats and watching a lot of these guys play. And then as I got into this profession, you know, I watched mixed teams with just great respect and admiration for their toughness and their will, you know, so that wasn't as much of a fan type of thing. It was more of a respect thing and a learning thing as a coach. And then I've always really valued the history of our game. I've always just had crazy interest in the history of our game. And so as I've gotten older and learned more and more about the history, you learn how deep rooted the history is here. So like, yes, I think it's important that we embrace our former players. I think they deserve to be embraced. We stand on their shoulders with what we get to do every day. But I like it. It's cool to me. And so to see those guys, like Steve Logan's at practice 2 days ago, you know, I walk out for practice and he's sitting at the scorer's table, and, you know, you walk out, Melvin Levitt's in the tunnel, you know, walking out to our Memphis game. I heard he was standing in the student section. He could have sat behind the bench, but I heard he was standing in the student section. And, you know, Corey Blunt's been by multiple times, and we can do the list is so numerous because of how many great players there've been. Or to hear that Cash wants to spend some time, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to try to see if I can get some more eligibility out of Cash. Forget coaching. Let's see if he can play some more. But
his knees are shot, Coach. His knees are shot.
Yeah. but no, guys, like it's important, but I also enjoy it, and that's the part of it that maybe gets overlooked. Is it's really neat to me to have these guys around that I've looked up to and that I value what they did so much.
You got anything else, Aaron?
I'm sure Coach Williams had some things to say to you after taking in your first game as a Bearcat, but is there anything you're willing to share with us that he said to you after watching you coach that game?
Well, he was flying back right after the game, and so when I walked out of coach, and I talked to the team a little longer after that game than I normally do, but he was waiting right outside the locker room. And Coach used to say this to me all the time. He'd tell me that he thought that I took losing as a player as hard as any player he'd ever coached. That there was only a handful of guys he coached that he felt took losing that hard as players. And so when I walked out, he said, I know how you feel right now because I know you. So I'm not going to say much, but your kids are fighting and they're playing really hard. And that's the most important thing. And you're a couple possessions away from winning that game against a team that's really, really gifted. Stay the course type of thing. And, gave me some other opinions I won't share. But no, just like having him there, I mean, that just goes to show what he's about and how fortunate I've been to learn from somebody like that. I mean, it's just really neat, the effort he made just to come here and talk to my team and watch our team and spend some time with me.
What kind of tea you drinking?
Drinking a cappuccino with skim milk. I'm a coffee guy, but if I'm recruiting sometimes in the afternoon, I can go for a cappuccino. Andre's drinking a vanilla latte. He's a latte type of guy. So this is about as. Go ahead.
I'm sending him a bill at the end of the season. I babysit his daughters at basketball games.
They're cute as can be, aren't they?
They sit right in front of me.
Talking about your daughters. Yeah, they're cute as can be. He's in trouble. He's in trouble in about 10, 15 years.
Well, his wife and I were talking about that actually. The loud one is not the one, the older one that's like friendly, and she's not the one to watch out for. The quiet one, the younger one, that's going to be the one you got to watch out for because like she doesn't. The older one, her cards are on the table. But the younger one's got her cards more like this.
He knows, by the way. He knows. You can see it on his face. He knows.
Oh, his older daughter loves me. Like there'll be times during it's intense, and she's playing like peekaboo with me around the desk from where I sit. So I love Andre's kids. But appreciate you. Gotta let you go and get to Roman Catholic. Are they at home game tonight?
It's really interesting. I'll say this and get off the phone because we got to roll. But they have a gym. It's literally in the Roman Catholics in the center of Philadelphia, and they have a gym. And I don't know how old it is, but it's years and years old, and it's not a full size gym on the top of the building where the school is. I mean, the put it this way: the sidelines are inside the 3-point line, so the 3-point line like runs into the sideline.
Oh my God!
It's like the 45. So it's not just not long. It's not a full.
It's not wide either, right?
Yeah, it's not a full width. They only play about 2 home games a year in there, so they always play somewhere else, even if it's a home game. So they're off-site.
Okay. Well, you guys have a great time. Bring home a winner for Dan, and have a safe flight back. We shall see you Sunday, Fifth Third Arena,
2:00
as the Bearcats take on Temple.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you taking time, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, boys.
There you go. Wes Miller. That was awesome.
Yep. Pretty cool.
So we're done for the day, right? Like 6 hours. We're half.